Welcome everyone and thank you for joining us today as we dive into one of the most unbelievable stories in the entire world of rare coins, a story that reaches deep into the heart of modern numismatics and shakes the imagination of anyone who has ever held a humble penny between their fingers, because today we are exploring the mind-blowing tale of how a 1995 1-cent coin, a coin that millions of people have spent, dropped, ignored or tossed into jars without a second thought, has been reported in collector circles and rare coin discussions as being worth an extraordinary $11 million due to its astonishing errors, mysterious striking anomalies, strange production quirks and the incredible possibilities that make it so valuable in the world of high-stakes coin collecting. And as we unfold this long and detailed journey, we welcome you to sit back, relax and prepare yourself for a deep exploration of how a simple Lincoln cent minted in a year most people barely think twice about could end up at the center of one of the most exciting and speculative numismatic stories ever told, because whenever we talk about a 1995 cent supposedly reaching a value of $11 million, we are not just talking about an ordinary coin, we are talking about the perfect storm of minting errors, unusual mishaps, striking abnormalities, metal composition mysteries, die misalignments, unexpected doubling possibilities, off-center strikes, transitional metal issues, planchet contamination, die deterioration, broad strikes, die caps, clashed dies, rotated dies, feeder finger damage, faulty annealing, and an entire universe of rare coin mistakes that can elevate a plain copper-plated zinc cent into a treasure so rare that seasoned collectors begin whispering about it with equal parts awe, disbelief, fascination and excitement, because when such a coin exists, whether confirmed in auction rooms or rumored among advanced collectors, it becomes more than just a monetary object. It becomes a legend that sparks imagination and drives people to search their old jars, drawers and boxes hoping they might stumble upon a life-changing discovery hidden in plain sight, and in this massive deep dive script we will examine every possible factor that could contribute to elevating a 1995 penny to the level of mythical multimillion-dollar status. Starting with the context of its production at the Denver Mint, where billions of 1995 cents rolled off the presses in a fast industrialized environment that is usually designed for precision but can occasionally produce extraordinary mistakes when machinery slips, dies clash, or planchets misfeed, because the Denver Mint in the mid-1990s was pushing high production volumes, and whenever speed increases under heavy production loads, the risk of rare, valuable, highly collectible errors increases as well, especially errors that the untrained eye might completely overlook yet which could be worth a fortune to a collector who recognizes their significance. So imagine a 1995 penny born in that chaotic dance between high-speed minting equipment and the unpredictable behavior of metal planchets, a moment where a single anomaly, just one momentary misalignment, crack, malfunction or contamination, creates a one-of-a-kind piece that later sends shockwaves through the collecting community because of its rarity. And to understand how such a coin could be valued at $11 million, we need to explore every potential error type that might appear on a coin from this era, such as a dramatic double die error, the kind that collectors dream about, where the features on the coin appear to have a shadow or duplicate impression due to misalignment or slippage between the hubbing processes, which in the 1990s still involved a multi-step hubbing system that occasionally produced the kind of doubling that drives collectors wild. And although the most famous doubling from 1995 belongs to the Philadelphia minted 1995 double die obverse, it is still entirely possible that an extremely rare, previously unknown double die existed at the Denver Mint, even one so dramatic or exotic that its severity surpasses known examples and sends the value into astronomical figures, because when a double die is both dramatically visible and unique, collectors begin fighting for it and auction prices can escalate beyond imagination. But doubling is only one factor among hundreds, because a coin worth $11 million must exhibit an error combination so extraordinary that it becomes an absolute singularity in the history of minting, and that leads us to the idea of multi-error combinations, where a single coin shows more than one rare mistake at the same time, such as a double denomination error where a cent is mistakenly struck over another coin such as a dime or a foreign planchet, combined with an off-center strike, combined perhaps with dramatic doubling or die breaks, creating a hybrid error specimen that exists nowhere else on Earth. and in such cases the value of the coin becomes less about the denomination and more about the historical uniqueness and rarity that could never be repeated, because multi-error coins that combine multiple rare mistakes in one piece are among the most valuable artifacts in all of numismatics, especially when the errors are visually obvious and scientifically fascinating. And another mind-blowing factor that could elevate a 1995 D penny to $11 million would be a wrong planchet error, where instead of being struck on a normal copper-plated zinc cent blank, it was struck on a leftover planchet from a previous coin series, a transitional metal blank, a dime blank, a steel blank, or even a foreign coin planchet accidentally mixed into the bins, because such occurrences, while extremely rare, have happened before in U.S. mint history, and when they do occur, they instantly produce some of the most sought-after coins ever discovered. Especially if the resulting strike is clear and well-centered, allowing collectors to see both the mismatch in metal composition and the perfect strike of the coin design. And imagine now if such a misstrike occurred in 1995 Denver, where a leftover copper planchet from a pre-1983 era somehow slipped through and was struck with the 1995 D design, or perhaps a foreign bronze or nickel blank ended up beneath the dies, creating a visually distinct and scientifically significant anomaly that stands out even among rare errors, because a different metal composition not only changes the weight but also the sound, color, and behavior of the coin, making it immediately recognizable to experts and sparking a bidding war at high-end auctions. But errors in striking are only part of the story, because another unusual factor that can push value into multi-million territory is a coin that was struck multiple times, known as a multi-strike error, where the dies come down more than once in an unintended pattern, rotating slightly between strikes or shifting position, producing an extraordinary layered effect of overlapping images where Lincoln's face may appear multiple times in ghost-like patterns, or the memorial building on the reverse may appear doubled, tripled, or rotated in ways that almost defy belief. And when such a dramatic multi-strike error is perfectly preserved, especially on a coin from the modern era where quality control is usually high, its rarity becomes nearly unfathomable, and collectors begin treating it like a historical artifact rather than a piece of currency, driving the value into the millions. And now imagine that a 1995 D penny exists with not only a multi-strike error but also a wrong planchet composition, a rotated die error, and dramatic doubling all at the same time, creating what collectors call a once-in-a-mint's-lifetime specimen. Something so absurdly rare that its value becomes almost impossible to calculate because no comparable coin exists anywhere in the world, and such uniqueness is what makes the coin legendary, driving speculation, imagination, and intense collector interest. But the story grows deeper when we consider the possibility of a die cap error, where the planchet sticks to a die and becomes a soft metal cap that continues striking subsequent coins, sometimes folding over, stretching, or bending into a cup shape. And if such an error were to combine with a mintmark anomaly or die cracks, it could create an object that looks more like sculptural art than currency. And whenever such strange formations occur, they become prized by error coin experts who value not only the mistake itself but also the visual drama it creates. And each unique formation can lead to massive auction premiums. But beyond physical errors, there is also the mystery surrounding coins that escape destruction despite being mint test strikes, experimental pieces, transitional hybrids, or patterns that were never meant to enter circulation. And imagine if a 1995 D cent was actually a transitional test piece made using leftover bronze planchets or mixed alloys during experimentation at the mint, and if such a piece somehow escaped into the public, surviving unnoticed for decades until discovered by a collector who recognized its unusual properties, then suddenly its value would skyrocket, because pattern coins and experimental strikes are among the most valuable pieces ever sold, with some reaching millions due to their extreme rarity, historical importance, and the fact that they were never intended for public release, making them inherently precious to museums and elite collectors alike. And another factor that elevates a coin into legends is provenance, the history of its ownership, because a coin that was once owned by a famous collector, discovered under remarkable circumstances, or featured in major numismatic research can gain immense prestige, and that prestige can drive value into astronomical levels. And now envision a scenario where the 199